Good morning, everyone. It is Tuesday, and it is beautiful. I'm using my earpods. Hopefully you can hear me. Jake, let me know. Welcome, everybody. We got our pitch competition, and we chose the top 10. So we'll be doing that 11 a.m. Pacific time on Friday. 2-minute drill, 2-minute pitch, 3-minute comments, win free coaching and other things from me. Otherwise, just reach out to me and get a free book, free training. Good morning, Mia. I owe you some videos. Welcome, everybody. Load me up with questions. Email me, david@dmeltzer.com, if you want a free book, register for free training or pitch competition. The next one will be August 28th after this one. So we'll be doing these monthly. So please join me on August 28th. If you did get into this one, please re-register. We'll keep them coming. Anyway, let's take some questions here. Welcome, everybody. What are some things along your journey that has helped you build resilience? Rule number 6, number 1. Rule number 6 is a famous rule. The Zanders wrote about it. And rule number 6 is simply don't take yourself so seriously. Believe it or not, that helps with resilience, allows you not to waste energy, emotion, time, resources, money. The first 10 minutes suck. Hey, Nick, good to see you on there as well. Looking forward to seeing everyone. Greg, what are the values you changed over time? Well, absolutely changed my personal values. I put my health first. So that's a huge one for me. What's the best lesson your kids have taught you? Interesting. It's probably not the best lesson, right? My kids have taught me patience. That's the best lesson, which goes with forgiveness, which is another great lesson. But I was traveling here in Colorado Springs, and reminded me of a story when my son, he's 10 now, was 3, and I had to take him to the bathroom. And he said to me, "Oh, the triangle bathroom." And I had no idea what he was talking about, the triangle bathroom. And there it was, the first time after 40 some years, I realized that. And so it was a lesson of awareness of what we don't see and knowing what we don't know. And those were really great lessons for me. And I always talk about, some of you may not know that on your gas indicator on your car, there's always an arrow outside your gas is on if you don't have an electric car. Anyway, looking here to go live. Let's go for another question real quick. What's the biggest lesson you've learned in your 20s? Radical humility is the best lesson I've learned at 22, 32, 42, and 52. Ask for help. That's, to me, the best and most humble thing you can do is ask for help. Looking to see how and who has what I want, and ask them for it, or ask them how to help me get it and teach me the lessons without having me to pay the dummy tax, but to learn the lesson, right? It's not entitlement if you're learning the lesson. And so you need to learn the lesson to get what you want. How do you overcome procrastination? By doing something you love and know that it's your God-given gift. You know what? You got to love the parts that you don't, right? Everyone talks about how do we do what we love. That's easy. But when you learn to love what you don't love to do, and you learn to love that, then absolutely all the things you love come into play. You have all the options and opportunities to do what you love. Meanwhile, you're probably not going to love 100% of anything. And so the habit and the discipline to learn to love what you do, the portions that you don't love, very simply allowing you to find the light, the love, and the lessons, or to enjoy the consistent, persistent pursuit of your potential. Seek the light, seek the love, and seek the lessons in everyone that you come upon, everything that you do. I'm in that journey and practice myself. I don't do it all the time. I find myself not finding the superpowers in the people around me, and then I switch it and I allow that great lesson of forgiveness, the means in which I unwind the untruths, the unperceptions that I have, the things I don't want in my life. Forgiveness will unwind the things that we don't want. They'll allow you to elect the things that you do want. Looking forward answering some more questions here. Supposed to go live today, maybe not. What are investors looking for when being pitched to? We're going to go over this on the pitch competition on Friday, 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. You can always catch all the replays on the playbook. Yesterday's was great on networking. If you didn't catch what? That's right, on what you want, how to get it. But the greatest investors are looking for 5 things. Number one thing that they're looking for is credibility. And so if you're not going through your pitch deck, and finding the credibility, people find skepticism, see you overselling, back-end selling, manipulating, lying, and cheating, you're dead, right? It's not going to work at all. So make sure that you are practicing credibility throughout the process, because if you're 100% credible, all you gotta do is say, give me your money and you'll receive this, and people will believe you. Number 2 is the emotional connection. People buy on emotion for logical reasons. So make sure that you're learning what they like, what they don't like, what they've done, what they have invested in, what they haven't invested in, why, etc. Third, quantify the reasons. Put money, resources, time, etc. to the reasons that they should invest. Do the same thing with the impact. Number 4, quantify it. Put money, resources, time, value behind it. Not the subjective value, the purple dinosaur who hugs you and tells you he loves you, but real money. Put it behind there. Time, resources, assets, and then finally capabilities. Make sure that you quantify the capabilities you have today and the capabilities you'll have with their investment. People don't do this. They don't even make the ask. Features and benefits should only be utilized in order to cement those things that we're looking at. I think that Darren's here. Let's see here. Very good. Sorry about that. Where do we get to see the playbook? It's everywhere. iTunes, Google Play, Entrepreneur, everywhere. Entrepreneur.com, my own dmeltzer.com. You can check out the playbook, and we'd love to have you. There he is.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing great, David. How are you?
Fantastic. There's certain people that come on my lives and they just light up the screen, and man, you're one of them. I was sitting there
I
worried
appreciate
I worried I was missing you. I'm in Colorado in the
that.
side of a Crackle Barrel, so I was like, oh no, I'm not gonna get him.
I'm so sorry. I've been watching the whole time. I didn't press the comment button, so that was. I've been loving the conversation. I loved your purple dinosaur comment just now. I'm getting that purple dinosaur.
I know. I love my Barney. I have the worst voice in the world, but I love singing the song to people. I love you. You love me. Nobody makes any money.
Oh, you got your own rendition of that. My youngest brother, or my middle brother, we're 12 years apart, and when he was little, I took care of him for one summer, and that was like his favorite show to watch, David. So I have still some scars from that show, but from that song. But
well, it's an honor to have you on here, and I'd love for you to share what your purpose and what we're doing right now. So if you wouldn't mind sharing a little bit of your background.
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, thank you so much for having me on. It's truly a pleasure to be on here with everybody. What I do in my work with my company, 34 Strong, we help create great places to work. And for me personally, David, that was born deeply out of having lived in both spaces at the same time, both spaces being years ago, I had the opportunity to work in an amazingly great place to work. At the same time, working in one of the most terrible environments that I've worked in. So this juxtaposition in life, it actually opened up my own thinking to the power of leadership and the impact that it can have in the work that we're doing, how people are showing up, and how people feel when they're going home, right? Because I remember in one role that I had, David, I was just going and I was just trying to survive the day and collecting a paycheck and doing what you can. And it changes your whole physical composition, your mind, right? Your spirit, just how you're showing up. And then I remember going to another role where I was actually teaching. So one job I was actually in construction years ago, and I was a senior project manager for a commercial construction company. And I was also at the same time teaching, and I got to empower my students and got to see them just come into fruition as entrepreneurs, different things. And it was so empowering, so energizing, and just started actually paying attention to how I felt differently in both of those roles. So that's a little bit on how I got into it. And the real power for me took place on the big island of Hawaii. I was on vacation with my wife and my daughter, who was 4.5 months old at the time, David, and she was my teacher. We had just come up from this amazing walk. I'm relishing fatherhood out on the beach on the big island of Hawaii. And she's laying in my lap and I'm eating a papaya. And she all of a sudden looks up and laughs out loud for the first time. And that was it for me, David, because that moment stitched together that juxtaposition of those two jobs and the life I was living, where I was telling myself my wife and my daughter were the two most important people in my life, but I wasn't living in that state and I was away from them. I wasn't really making them a priority in my life. From that moment forward, I knew something had to change, and that was the birthplace of changing my focus and how I was going to show up. And within 2 months of that, I met my business partner in 34 Strong, and we both wanted to create great places to work. We didn't know how we were going to do it, but we decided we were going to start working together, and the rest is history.
That's awesome. You know, with 34 Strong, it's interesting. We say, you know, great places to work, but you're really creating great people to work. You know, and I talk about perspective all the time, and there's a lot of people that are finding the voids, shortages, and obstacles with their perception instead of the superpowers and the gratitude and forgiveness and accountability in the position that they hold. And I love the fact that, you know, as your values change, even recently with COVID, you know, I've always put originally family first and then my activity I get paid for and then my health. And I switched that, somebody had asked earlier, you know, to my health first. And through COVID, not only did it reinforce, you know, my priority of existing, but more importantly, you know, and being able to take care of others, but it also, you know, that we lie to ourselves about how important the time with our family is. And, you know, for me, having the extra time has really, you know, having 4 children has really shown me once again that I don't know what I don't know, that I lie to myself all the time about how important my family is. And I need to take inventory every morning to ask myself, am I participating in my life with that purpose aligned with the values I truly have? Reminding myself, am I making the right decisions by doing this? If truly my 10-year-old son won't be 10 again, am I utilizing today in the manner that I want to utilize it according to my values, not lying to myself anymore and not telling myself, well, that's good enough. And that's what I think I've learned through COVID is, you know what, it was good enough. I was a good dad. You know, sometimes I was a great dad. Wasn't a bad dad at all, right? I have great relationships, but I could do better, right? I'm my own chief betterment officer, and I could do better at what I do with my job. I could do better what I do with my family. And I think, you know, 34 Strong, that's what you really get at, is not just a better workplace, it's working on better people.
Oh yeah, big time with that, and really empowering leaders, empowering the managers to actually step into that, David. Because, you know, I'm sure you've experienced this in your life as well, but a bad boss, they go home with you. They're in the car with you. They're waking you up at night, right? They're showing up before you're supposed to get up in the morning. They're there, and they're not there, but they're there in your mind. What's that doing to us and how it's showing up. They're there when we're trying to be that best dad, trying to be that best person in our family. And it just has an effect that's not good for us. It's not healthy. So it is empowering people to empower people. I mean, I love your mission of with touching the billion lives, like making that happen, and just the numbers on it, the thousand to thousand to thousand, and going through that, because it's very realistic in doing that with each life that we touch. That's the way that I look at it. If I can make one person smile today, and they can pay that forward, something along that line. Hopefully more than one person, but if you can do that with one person, and you just start off there, that builds momentum, and that creates that energy for us that we're looking to do. It's so critical in our world.
I think part of being a leader too is you guys do such a good job, and I have known people that you have worked with, and it's not just, the employees and teaching the leader that, hey, you don't want to be in their head before they go to bed or when they wake up, but it's also as a leader that you can't allow those employees, right? I always tell my employees, hey, I don't want to be thinking about you before I go to bed or when I wake up. You don't want to be that employee, right? That means we have a problem. And, it's my responsibility and my accountability to fix the problem. And I always do it through understanding and praying for their happiness. And if they don't get that alignment, then I pray for their happiness and run the other way. I don't hold on to my problems anymore. I don't let employees bleed me. And how do you teach that part of the leadership too, beyond the accountability of being a great leader, of, hey, there's not always good fits, and that we need to, feed those that feed us in an employment situation?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. A big part of our approach, David, that we use is a strengths-based approach to human development. Let's focus on what's right with people. We use a tool. This is one of the tools that we use, but the Clifton Strengths Assessment through the Gallup organization, to help identify people's natural talents, their natural patterns of thought, feeling, and behavior that can be productively applied. So it helps us to unlock just different learning styles that people have, the way that they're going to show up. That being said, to your point, sometimes we find that people are not in the right role. When we are able to approach things through the lens of strengths and the lens of talent, what we can oftentimes do is maybe find out that this person is not the right fit for that role, but it's not a function of they don't have talent. It might be a function of they have the talent to serve the organization, but in a different role. And maybe there's some shifts that we can make. Maybe there's some shifts in the way that we're communicating. Many people go through the process of, hey, I've told my employees this is what I expect of you, right? And that's kind of like playing a game of telephone, David. You remember playing telephone when we were kids? Yeah. I whisper something in your ear, it goes to 20 students, and what happens by the 20th student? It's completely different. Leaders oftentimes find themselves in that situation because what do? We set expectations for people the way that we would set expectations for ourselves. Well, this is the way I would do it. So when we figure out some of these little nuances, just a simple question for anybody that's listening, if you're leading a team, if you just fold this into your one-to-ones that you're having, ask people, how do you best learn? And take a note and listen. Some people are verbal processors. They need to talk the idea out. Some people need to take it in. They need to go think, do some research, come back to you with their questions. When you can understand those nuances, we can make these shifts in information, how we're presenting it, to set clear expectations. If that still doesn't work in the cycle of coaching and development, you might be able to coach and develop them into a powerful transition, but you'll still be a very, very strong leader for that person that might have helped them find that way. How many times have you heard the stories where somebody transitions out of a role and comes back and is super thankful to their company or that particular leader for helping them see, I'm not the right fit here, but you've invested to help me find where I can be impactful. And that can happen. It happens for us, right? Not to us.
And through us too. I think it's a critical component. It happens through us. Last thing real quick, because you mentioned something that's so interesting to me is, you talk about the thoughts and the actions, but you also talked about the feelings. And, through my career, what I see is this, shift in the way people feel and perceive things. How do you deal with feelings, with, making and helping someone with the way that they feel? Because that's the most memorable, impactful thing that we do, are our emotions, the energy that we put into motion, these feelings. And it seems as if, you have a construct, a true pragmatic capacity to help people feel a certain way?
You know, I think feelings, it's easy for us to say there's feelings and they're facts and look at it through the lens that they're different things. Feelings are facts. It's a fact that somebody is feeling that way. So when we try and put these buckets and separate them and say, well, we're going to focus on the facts. Well, when we validate somebody's feelings, which is oftentimes all that's needed to just acknowledge and validate the fact that they are feeling this way. I mean, right now, with everything that's been going on in our world, there's a lot of feelings of uncertainty. One of the big things that we've been doing, David, is working through programs with some of our clients called Leading Strong in Times of Uncertainty. But it's helping people to understand you've got to acknowledge those feelings. You've got to connect with people on a human level. And sometimes all you're doing is being the pressure relief valve to get those feelings out so that then they can move to the facts of the situation, of the work that needs to be done, the project that we're on, whatever it is that we're dealing with. But if we try to pretend that those feelings are not a fact of what somebody's experiencing, we're going to lose sight of that. I'll give you a really personal example of this. This weekend was my 10-year wedding anniversary and my daughter's 8th birthday. And we took some time. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, it was incredible. My daughter came. She showed up on our 2nd wedding anniversary. So it's the date that I can never run away from and do something else. She keeps it together for us. But the reason I share that with you is here I am talking about this stuff, David. I was in a place this weekend where I was so focused on the facts and all of the things I had to do in business and work, I wasn't seeing the drift that was taking place. Even though I'm here far more, I'm not traveling as much, any of that stuff, I wasn't seeing the drift that was taking place. Connected, and I was very present in very little pockets. I love it. I love that, right? So I was present, but not present in longer pockets. So I disconnected for 4 days and just gave all of my attention to my family, and it charged me personally in ways that I didn't even realize we were going at, you know? So it's like taking that time to acknowledge those feelings and taking that time to take inventory of those feelings is critical. And that comes by taking the pause. For me, I find that stepping into nature, just taking in a sunrise sometimes in the morning, getting out to the water can charge the mind and open our perspective to seeing that.
Could not be more relevant right there. There's Miles with me, my 10-year-old, perfect timing. Well, 34 Strong is doing incredible things with leaders and companies, but it has a strong quantifiable ROI as well. And I think these feelings and these processes are so important for a company, especially today under the compressed time of uncertainty that we're in. It's 34strong.com. Isn't that correct, where people can find you, Darren?
That's correct. 34strong.com. They can check us out on LinkedIn, Facebook. You can find me personally at Darren Versami on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. Those are the main platforms that I'm on. But that's where you can find us.
Well, you're my kind of guy. We certainly are aligned in our strategies and philosophies. I look forward to doing more with you. I appreciate you coming on. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, David. I appreciate you. Thanks for the impact you're making on the world. Here's to getting to that billion and beyond, okay?
You're one of my 1,000. I'm counting on you. Thank you so much.
Will do. Take care, my friend.
Take care. Sure.
Bye.
Take care, Darren. Cool. 34 strong to 1 billion strong. Whoop. Whatever I did there. Looking here. All right. We got thank Darren. We got 34 strong to 1 billion. I don't know. We're stuck on together. There we go. I'm going to take one more question and then get going. Jen Gottlieb, my dear friend, talk about one of my 1,000. How are you? Amazing woman. If you haven't checked out Jen Gottlieb, she's right there. Check her out at Jen_Gottlieb. You got her right there. Let's take a quick question and then get going. Miles is pushing on me here. What is the best way to balance and focus? What do you think, Miles? What's the best way to balance and focus?
I don't know.
He doesn't know yet, but he will. I will tell you what it is. The best way to balance and focus is to take inventory of your values, Miles. Your personal values, what's personally important to you, your experiential values. What do you want to do today, right? What do we want to do? We can go to the zoo. What are we going to have fun here in Colorado Springs? Your giving values. How are we going to help people? Like by doing these Instagram lives, help people be happy. And then what are we going to receive today? What do we want to do to receive, right? So if we take inventory of those values, we then can balance them by what's a priority, what's most important to us, buddy, and then we can get focused in on it. That's where the studying comes in. Attention plus intention to those values will provide the coincidences, the mathematical occurrence of what we want. We're leveraging not only the law of attraction, but the law of Goya. It's going to be get off your butt. I'll make it Goiba. Anyway, everybody, what a great question to end on. What a great guest. Check out 34 Strong and my friend Darren. Justin Pugh, welcome as well. I see you there. He sees the Chargers mask. Yeah, we're hitting the Chargers, man, with all these Denver fans.
Yeah,
it's
Justin.
awesome. Yeah, Justin. Miles says hi. Anyway, most importantly, Friday pitch competition. Join us. Learn how to pitch. Learn the feedback. 2-minute drill. 2-minute pitches, 3-minute feedback. Win one-on-one coaching. The next one will be August 28th. Every single Friday, free training. Register david@dmeltzer.com or join my text community, 949-298-2905. It's always pinned below. Thank you, everyone. Remember, most importantly, be kind to your future self and do good deeds. This is David and Miles. Have a great day.